The greatest of all time, Novak, taking on Alexander Vukic. Did you guys see this match here? Yes, guys. Alexander took the second set, and the experts started to hit the panic button. That's right here in the third set. We pick up here in the fifth service game. The experts said Novak, a 3-1 underdog to win the fifth service game. Did he? Of course he did, ladies and gentlemen. The greatest of all time, Jordan, Novak, and Messi. Look, I agree with that, but why don't we add Serena on that? Let's go back a couple slams ago. Serena was considered the greatest tennis player of all time. Now, without a doubt, I think Novak is the greatest male tennis player of all time. Serena's the greatest female tennis player of all time, especially if we're talking about the Open era. But Novak is an amazing guy on and off the court. He's my favorite male tennis player because not only does he fight for players' rights on the court, he fights for them off the court. Now, I do think of all the current players, I think Carlos Alcaraz I think he's the only one that has a shot at passing Novak, but he's got to get busy pretty soon. I do question his durability, but he's great on all surfaces. He's a great defender, very athletic, very fast. He moves well. He gets balls back. He's improved his serve. He's mentally tough. The guy plays injured all the time, but he's got to improve his durability. And I don't necessarily think he could play till he's 36, 37, 38 like Novak. Don't be surprised if Carlo hangs it up by 32, 33. As long as if he can improve his durability, I think he can go longer than that, but I don't necessarily know that these younger players have love for the sport and the game like the older generation does. Not to say that Carlos doesn't, but that's just something that, I just see watching them. I watch some of the players like Osaka. I don't know if and she talked about it in previous interviews, Sloane Stephens, they talked about how Serena had so much love and passion for the game. And sometimes you think, well, do they? And they've talked about it in the past, but I won't touch much more on those subjects because I want to talk about Novak and how he fights for players' rights. Novak, he brought up a good point a while back, and we'll get back to this match momentarily. Novak said, a lot of these sports betting sites and these companies, they pay the ATP and the WTA millions of dollars to use their logos, their trademarks to promote their products. And he said the players don't receive any of that money. Now, especially the ATP, who's a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, right? The WTA, not so much, but they're still profitable. I agree with Novak because in case you guys are not familiar, these 250s, these 500s, these 125s, you have players rooming up 3 and 4 people to a single bedroom hotel room to save money. It's very expensive to be a tennis player. It's very, very expensive to be a tennis player. And unless you're a main star, in the top 20, top 30, with huge endorsements, like Coco and Iga and all those great athletes, or your Pegula, who's a billion-dollar princess, Emma Navarro, then it's tough. A lot of these players can't even travel with coaches. We saw Alicia Parks, she's paid now, right? A couple years on the United Cup. And, she won her maiden championship last year in Lyons, France, and she's getting the endorsements now. So she's fine now. But you take a look at players like Clara Buell, played the biggest match of her career today against Coco. Her coach wasn't there. Her coach could have helped her in a match like that when she needed to serve it out. Stuff like that, it's tough. Now, the Slam's a different story. They'll take care of your room board, your coaches, your travel. But there's only 4 Slams a year. What about the other 45 matches these players have to play? Flights, hotel costs, ground transportation, medical attention. You need a massage, right? That stuff is expensive, and a lot of players that can't afford this stuff, sometimes you'll see them, they'll play great one match, then they don't look so great the other match. It's because of, it's not necessarily because of their form or their level. It's the ability to recover. It's the resources. Resources play a huge factor in how well a tennis player can start the season and finish the season. And Novak is advocating for a lot of these things. I think he's an amazing guy for the sport, which I think he's a role model. He's had his issues with the tour on and off the court. Some of that, I think they were kind of targeting him. But I think he's an amazing athlete because, again, tennis is very, very expensive. I mean, just look at diet alone. You have someone like Elena Rybakina who they're talking about, she has the issues there with her recovery and retaining nutrients, the intestinal issues. I don't necessarily think it's that, but let's say it was, right? Diet for a professional athlete, it's not the regular diet of an average person. Let's say the average household spends about, I don't know, I think the average household spends about $250 to $300 a week in groceries. These professional players, especially tennis players, they can spend that on themselves in half a week. That's right. Food is expensive. The course of a month, they could literally spend $2,000 in diet just to maintain the caloric intake it needs to be a tennis player. You have nutrients. You need breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks all throughout the day. Water, especially coconut water. That stuff is expensive. One container of coconut water will run you like $6 to $8. And that's the best for hydration. But it's very expensive to maintain your nutrients. And Elena Rybakina, they're saying she's having issues with that. I personally think it's her shoulder. I think she really needs surgery and she needs to shut it down. That's what I think personally. I mean, with her level of conditioning, she's in shape. She's played enough tennis. She has enough resources to have a runner to make sure her diet is prepared, breakfast, lunch, dinner. I think she's injured. Just simply put, I think Rybakina is injured. And I think they're trying to mask it with these fake PR stories. That's my opinion. Okay. I'm subject to my own opinion. That's what I think, because every time I tell what I think is the truth, people get mad and they don't realize they weren't around when I was getting on Coco. Where were you guys in? Yeah, I got on Coco for a long period. And now she's the player she needs to be, but she still got to improve the double faults. But again, that's just what I think it is. And back to Novak, I think he's an amazing advocate for the players on and off the court. And he is a role model. He really fights hard to get these players better resources and better playing conditions. Novak, you are amazing. So is Ons Jabeur, and so is Coco, so is Iga. They're all fighting as well. So congratulations. But Novak comes back. He might win it, guys. Should I give you a future of Novak? Let's take a look at the ladies. We have Coco. We have Sabalenka and Iga. Iga plus 275, Sabalenka 350, Coco, round plus 500 to win it. You could literally take all three. I do think one of the big three on the WTA side will win the Indian Wells. And Novak's got a good chance to win it. I don't know, though. I don't like how he looked for a lot of today. He's going to have to rest and recover. We'll see. Tennis in a minute. Look at the beautiful grounds of the Indian Wells. It's beautiful, guys. If you've never been, you really need to get there. Beautiful. Novak wins. We'll be right back.